What's up, fam? Welcome to another edition of God Dreamers. Thank you for joining us today. And today we're going to kind of revisit a guest that was here a few months back, Coplanar Capital. Had so much of a great time for them sharing with their business and their personal lives and finding purpose. And we forgot to really focus on their process. And so today I wanted to kind of follow through on that and talk about some of the things that they're doing in terms of the business, some of the vision, some of the strategies that they're doing. And also for those you guys that have a business or an idea that perhaps they can help you. So we're going to talk about that today. So gentlemen, welcome to another edition of God Dreamers. I appreciate you guys joining us today. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. We're doing well, Todd. Thank you for having us again.
Yeah, good to see you, Todd.
Awesome. So a brief recap. You guys, can you share a little bit about your business? I know we talked about it before, but for those of us watching this for the first time, they may not know. So can you share a little bit about your business and your roles, please?
Sure. You want to go first?
No, you can go ahead.
All right.
I started last time.
Awesome. So Coplanar Capital, we're a venture capital investment firm. So basically what that means is we acquire minority equity stakes in companies, help those companies grow, and help the CEOs and shareholders reach the goals that they want. So we start sometimes with an idea, but mainly with a prototype, and we help turn the company into something that can sell that product, or we can sell the company, and then everyone can reach their desired goals, whether they be financial or change in life pace. We just help out with all those things as a firm.
Quentin serves as the chief investment officer, so he's the primary person that would be looking for opportunities. I'm the president of the firm, and what we're really focused on is what we call double result investing, which is getting not only better returns, but also creating a better world. Making investments that have significance for both the people as well as the planet.
So it's not just about making money then, right?
Can't be. That's not what God's called us to do.
Right. We're on God Dreamers because we're called to do more than
That's right.
Yeah, that's so awesome. When you think about venture capitalism, I think about that movie Wall Street and all the dirty things that go on behind the scenes to make money. And actually, as a matter of fact, I watched the program last night. It was about a gentleman out of Malaysia it was Johnny Rowe. I can't remember his name exactly, but anyway, all these funds were made for the country to build infrastructure, and he basically just took all that money and just spent it on themselves. And so, yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. But what you guys are doing is to me is like awesome, because it's not just about the money. Of course, we all want to have some type of profit, but that's not the bottom line. So wow, that's
the baseline for investors. Investors, God calls us, right? Remember the parable of the faithful stewards, right? God calls us to do something with the resources that we have. And it does need to be a return that's on the investment, as we know well from that parable. But also, there's opportunity to multiply. We should be taking advantage of that multiplication. And why not even more take advantage of it when that multiplication blesses others?
I love that. You're right. The Bible does talk about, our talents and what we do with them, right? And God is expecting a return. We don't just take our talents and just bury them, right? We use them. It's awesome. So let's talk about your process. I know, like I'm a newbie to all of this. I mean, I do watch Shark Tank, so I get an idea of what it's all about.
All you have to do is watch Shark Tank.
Yeah, I know.
We just threat to our business model, Shark Tank.
Yeah. So I know, when I watch Shark Tank, that there's a business idea that, a person comes up or a team comes up and they present their idea, and then they have a valuation for the company, and then the sharks say, "Oh, you're valuing your company way beyond what you're really currently making." So is that something similar to what you guys do in terms of when you find potential opportunities or ideas? Are you going back and forth with the person or persons in terms of finding a way to help them, but also understanding that what's real is real and what's projected is not necessarily real at the point in time?
Right. Yeah, there's many sayings we like to say, but the one it really boils down to for us is when we're going through a process and we're examining whether opportunity is good for us to be a part of. It's two things: is it in a market that is large enough? Meaning, what we have found, if you have an idea, do you have a total addressable market or customer base that's really, really large? Because what happens in those cases, it doesn't matter how small of a breakthrough you make, you can still get a good return on your sweat equity and investment dollars. And then the second thing we look at is people, right? Are you the person that can actually accomplish what you're setting out to do? And at Coplanar, we do that a little different. I would say all venture capitalists look at it, but we like to use the word, are you a person of integrity? And people have their own definitions of what it means to have integrity. But we really weigh on the fact of, did you properly count the cost for what you're trying to do? And it's not only did you set a proper budget, did you assemble the correct team, but do you have realistic expectations for what it's going to take? I can't tell you how many times we sit down with founders, inventors, CEOs, and they just have unreal expectations. They want investment dollars and they want to do everything their way, and they expect to get certain results. When, as God has made us all a part of his body, I don't care what you try and do, you're going to have a specific role, and you're going to need others to help you accomplish whatever he's called you to do.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, Todd, that in a made-for-TV world, the biggest difference that you'll probably find from our day-to-day business and what's going on Shark Tank is the matter of timing. They really treat it like a transaction and seem to make decisions in less than 30 seconds. Where for us, it's a long-term relationship of greater value than what's going on in a transaction.
So what about, I guess venture capitalists in general have specific areas that they focus on. So what area you guys focus on? What is your area of expertise or your sweet spot in terms of looking for clients? What area is that?
Yeah, so with my background, you remember in the last interview, I told you guys I started off as a scientist. So that really lends us to really focus on the biotech space. But when you hear biotech, everyone goes asleep, right? But, just think of it like things like digital health. So digital health, your Apple Watch is a digital health product. And then we look at things like therapeutics, so the drugs and nutraceuticals you take, if you take a vitamin every day, and we look for things like that. And the last one that we really look at are medical devices. And so these are the way, when you go to the doctor, the way you're actually diagnosed with things. So like, blood pressure monitor, thermometer, things like that. We invest in new technologies for diagnosing different things. And so those are our primary areas of focus, but we also, we look at opportunistic things as well. We've invested in financial technology. We've also done some work with looking at real estate and other things like that. But our primary focus is the biotech space.
Gotcha. So you touched on this before, and I'll present it this way. It says, why do you do what you do, and what problems are you solving? And before you answer that, I went to your website, and I thought this was awesome. You had, I'm gonna read it back because it was so awesome to me. It says we help you discern. I love that word. You said commercially viable biotech versus scientific dreams, sustainable opportunities versus cash drains, monetizing bias versus continuous financing, and experienced teams versus trial and error. I love that. I mean, that is so good. So, and I kind of talked about what you do, and why you do it. But let me allow you guys to express that in your own words.
Sure. It's never, in some instances, you walk away from the deal because of one thing or one person, right? But the ones that really work, the successful opportunities or investments we bring to our investors and our funds are typically ones where there is the multiplier effect that you get from that. In the biohealth space, my preferred term as opposed to biotech, but the biohealth space, there are a lot of scientific dreams that, wow, if we just take a pill, this will all go away. And it's not that complicated, yet that doesn't mean that they're unable to get investors. So I'm sure you've seen Shark Tank and looked at, given our last discussion, looked at one of those devices and say, who in the world would buy that?
Yeah.
And yet here's, Scrub Daddy multiple billions of dollars later. Probably want to cut that, but anyways, there is, there's the opportunity that happens when you maybe don't really see it, but we're looking for a specific aspect of our portfolio. But to Quentin's point, it really comes down to that marketplace that they're serving, the quality of the team, the innovation and the protection around what the idea specifically is, if there's competition, etc. And then the realism or the integrity that they're looking at, are they willing to pay the price to take it to the next level?
Yeah, and I think what I would add, when you were saying what we do, I think Doug really touched on that, and the why is, what we said in the previous video. This is our call. The Lord has placed solutions to all of the world's problems in people. So what at Coplanar Capital, what we're called to do is help identify those people, help them grow their businesses, and get those solutions out to everyone. That is the essence of why we're doing this. We are just being led by the Lord to help people get their solutions to the world's biggest problems out into the market so they can help us all.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So,
that's how you get double result investment.
Yeah. Gotcha. So walk me through the process of finding and working with clients. What is that? What is your normal day like? What is that? What is that experience like?
Yeah, so it's a lot of networking, but I'm going to walk you through the process on how we settle on one opportunity, because I really want people who, if you reach out to people for investments, I want you to understand kind of the weight. Right now we have 7-8 prospects that we are really vetting into, diving into for a few things. In order to get down to those 7 or 8, we started with over 250.
Wow.
So, we have a metric where we, systematically look at every opportunity. And as Doug said, we examine the market. Is this product, addressing a market that's big enough for what we typically look at Coplanar Capital? Then we go to our second biggest weight that we put on, which is the team. Is this team, do they have the ability to execute within the market that they're going to? Then we look at, is this a new patented technology, or is this what we like to call just another copy of something that's already out there? And really, when we run it through those 3, you lose over 50% of the opportunities. And, I always, when we first started doing this, I felt kind of bad pointing out to people that, hey, there's something in the market that's just like what you're doing, so no one's gonna look at it, or hey, I just don't think it's the right team. But kind of where the Lord has led us to is by addressing people early and showing them kind of the challenges that they're going to have to face, you're actually helping them. So even when we turn people away, we're able to point out, hey, this is why we're not interested. You may want to address this. And we've even had people who we've turned away previously. They've gone, they worked on it, and they came back to us and they became viable products. And so we really start with those 3 things: the market, the people, and then what type of protection do you have around it. Then we look at things like, go-to-market strategy. Can we actually go to the market with your product? How do we go to the market? Are we even the right people? We've eliminated technologies because Coplanar just isn't the right opportunity for you, right? We're not the right partners. There are other people that have the specialties you need, and we're just not it, you know. And we will be happy to refer people. We have a good network of other VC firms, investors, and banks and things like that. And so we'll pass them that way. And then, you know, if you fit, you know, those top four, we then sit down and we take it to the Lord, right? God gave us the process to run through, but we have to confirm, you know, with him that this is the right way to go. And so Doug and I, every morning, we pray, we talk about our quiet time, our devotional time, and then we ask the Lord to just make sure you bring us clearly to what the right opportunities are. And so, you know, there's a little bit more we do, and it's just a lot of waiting and scoring, but those are the big parameters we look at when we decide, hey, is this the right opportunity for us?
And then that big factor that comes in is when.
Yep.
Right. So again, you may have great scores and really be capturing on a need, but if the mega trends are moving in other directions and, you know, the uptake and the success of the companies in question, we need to table it for a while and then go to our bench for additional opportunities.
I got you. So a person, an ideal candidate that has something, an idea, or already working something in progress. What are those steps they need to do or take before they actually, you know, come before, you know, a company like yours? What are the things they need to have in order before they stand before you and share their business ideas or the processes they're working with?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say, if you have an idea, the first thing you need to do is sit down and put together a business plan. Now, I know there are going to be listeners that are going to say, "Oh, I don't need a business plan." Well, you need a plan for how you're going to make the product, who you're going to partner with to actually not only get it made, but get the product out, how you're going to get that product into the market, what is your budget for what you're carrying out, and then how you see everything going in the future once you do hit the market. Guess what? All of that's part of a business plan. So you can put it in a pitch deck, you can do with it however you want, but if you have an idea or an invention or something you made, the first thing you have to start with is make a viable business plan. And then have people you trust, people who have been successful, have launched business and have done different things, let them review your plan. Let them tell you that it makes sense, that, hey, I think if you show this to someone, you know, they may have some questions, but they can totally see your logic. I can't tell you how many plans and decks we review where we say this makes no sense whatsoever. It may be a great idea, a great product, but what did I tell you? The market is big, but our second most important thing is the people. If you give me a presentation where I can tell that you don't have the integrity, you haven't counted the cost, and you're not thinking properly of how to get this to the market and get this where you need it to be, then we eliminate you. Because I have 300 more over here that are emailing us, calling us, following up with us. So get a business plan, have people review it that will give you good feedback. And then after you do that, start circulating and marketing your pitch deck or plan to different groups that fit your specific focus. So I want to say this about the specific focus. You know, I've told you we focus on biohealth or biotech as we say. So, you know, if you have a restaurant idea, we are not your ideal people to look at, right? We get this all the time where people say, I want to do this, I want to do that. Well, you know, where our funds come from, though, people come to us because they know our specialty. They know, you know, what we're able to do and who we're able to work with. So make sure you're going to the right people. And just understand that we all have similar processes. We kind of have our secret sauce that makes us work, and Other firms will have their secret sauce, but it all boils down to you have to come to us with a plan. It's not our job to come up with your plan. And so that's just, you know, kind of what I would tell your listeners. Start with a business plan and give it to someone and let them review it.
That's good, man, because that means that you don't necessarily have to have a business that's already operating. I mean, you could have an idea, but as long as you have a plan in place, then that's a good starting point. I think
Yeah.
some people sometimes feel like you have to have a business already in place in order to reach out to somebody that's willing to, you know, venture capitalists to invest in, but that's not necessarily true. But it's good to have some work.
It depends on the firms.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, you know, different firms structure, and that's why there are things like websites that make it awfully easy. If you've got a restaurant idea, staying on that theme, and you look at someone's website and they're a technology, you know, and they're looking at software, don't pick up the phone. The same thing is if they're looking for companies that have already issued stock, you know, that may not be the first place that somebody who's just got an idea goes to. And there are venture capitalists that work with just companies that have ideas and try and take them to the next level.
Yeah.
And then there's the other aspect that you need to, in your self-evaluation, in your idea is how much are you willing to give up, right? Going back to our Shark Tank, that's oftentimes where the inventor gets slowed down. Oh, you want 50% of my company? I was thinking 5%. And, you know, so the more you socialize the idea, as Quentin was suggesting, I think the clearer expectations you'll have when you start going to the process.
Yeah, I could not agree more. You know, it's kind of in our partnership, I am the initial point of contact for the inventors, CEOs, entrepreneurs we're talking to. And one of our big elimination points are if you come to me and you say, I want you to give me $500,000 for my business. And I say, well, how much are you putting in? $0. So what kind of equity, you know, do I get? Well, I only want to give you 2% equity. Thank you. Have a nice day. Right? That's the end of the conversation. And once again, it goes back to counting that cost. That person has not had people review their business plan. They haven't gotten a good understanding of this is the cost for doing what you want to do.
And just a rule of thumb for your listeners as well is the earlier you are in the process and you're looking for investors, the more of your company you're going to have to give up, right? So, and really a threshold to be thinking of is 70 to 80% of your company you'll probably have to give up in the earliest stages if that's what you're looking to get financed.
Yeah.
So, you know, it really narrows a lot of people's ideas very, very quickly. When if you've got an idea and you're already generating revenue, right, you really don't need so much the investment. Guess what? You can dictate the terms and give up less of your company because there's a greater appetite for people to invest with certainty. It goes back to that whole risk reward sort of fulcrum that moves in every investor's mind. It's kind of like, okay, I see the returns I can get because it's an amazing market and nobody has this product. But look how long it will take. Look how much risk I may have to take to get there in the process. And therefore, the higher the risk, the less assets that are going to be available. Or, in other words, the more your company you're going to have to give up.
Yeah, and I think I want to add one thing because I first of all, I loved your reaction, Todd. When he said you have to give up 70 to 80% of your company, you're like, what? We get that reaction. And the things that I always tell entrepreneurs, you can keep going on your own. You can keep doing it as much equity as you want. Or you can partner with a firm, doesn't even have to be us, that will give you not only the money, the connections, and in a lot of cases, the schedule you need to live a comfortable life and cause you to make more money coming back into your pocket than you would have ever done on your own. So don't get hung up on, I want to make all the decisions. I want to have control. I'm looking for people who, I want to get my product in the market and I want it to actually get in people's hands so it can help them. Those people know that I may have to give something up, but in the long run, I'm going to get the returns that I desire.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I guess it all depends on what you're willing to put the sweat equity, as you say, to put in order to achieve the results that you want. And then I guess some people, like you said, they don't really want to do the whole lot of work. But if they're getting maybe 20% of the company, but they're making 100 million or 100 a million from that, then I guess if they're cool with that, that's fine too. Because like I said, they're not doing the work. So that's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I know when I watch Shark Tank, that they're always asking, how much time have you put into, how much money have you put into this? What are your numbers now? How much money are you making? What's your gross? What's your take home? And so forth. And those that tend to already are doing very well, those are the ones that, and the market is, viable. Those are the ones that normally, have the sharks are fighting over because they've done the work, right? So,
right.
And you have to be confident that the money you receive is going to a specific growth enabler in your company, right? The Shark Tank ones that get eliminated are the ones that come and say, well, I'd like you to put in 500,000 so I could pay myself for the last 5 years.
yeah.
That's the Quentin goodbye.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So as we get ready to close, I got two more questions for you. But the first one is, and Quentin, you mentioned this before we started this interview about your next steps. So I want you guys to share about what's coming down the pipe in terms of opportunity and business ideas that you guys are working on, and hopefully will be coming into fruition in the very near future. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I sure will, Todd, and I'm really excited for various reasons. But at Coplanar Capital, we've decided that come October, we will be launching a Black men's health tech fund. And I'm a Black man, and the statistics for the health of Black men in this country are really scary. We are the least likely to live past 70. We are 300% more likely to have issues with our heart, our kidneys, and just all of the top 10 killers of people in this country. They affect Black men more than the rest of the population. And many people, and Todd, you're aware of this, many people have kind of like hypothesized or theorized that this is due to a socioeconomic gap, right? Meaning, Black men don't necessarily have the same access to healthcare, which we agree is a big issue. It's also an issue that Black men live under more stress statistically than others. But what we found through several studies and articles, and then some studies on our own, is that even when you get healthcare and you go into the doctor's office, they don't necessarily always have tools that work best for Black men. So they don't necessarily always have the best diagnostic tools, the best therapeutics that can be recommended and given to Black men for treatment. And so what we wanted to do was, can we identify companies that are making products that work great for everyone, including Black men?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've identified some great companies with wonderful technologies that will address things like diabetes, heart disease, opioid addiction, and they've all done testing on minorities and in particular Black men, and their products work great. So it's our goal to help these products get to market, help them grow. And, I just want one day when I have a little girl, but, when my daughter has kids, I just want her kids, her sons that she has, when they go to the doctor, I want the doctor to have everything they need to treat them no matter what's going on. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do here with this Black Men's Health Tech Fund. So,
Wow, man, I love that. That is definitely needed. I mean, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, some of the challenges that I'm facing as an African American male. And you're right. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, some of the social, some of this, I don't know if it's genetic or what, but I know that there's a lot of challenges that we face with, like diabetes, high blood pressure. My grandfather died from complications from diabetes. My father died from a stroke, and he was only 77. And so I'm really excited about what you guys are doing about that. And I definitely want to do a follow up. I guess we're going to be having these God Dreamer editions for your company for the next couple of years, because all these cool little developments that I definitely want to follow up on.
Yeah. And and just to add, so we've spoken with groups who've done some significant studies where they've studied, Black men who are wealthy and successful, Black men who are highly educated, versus Black men who are, may not be as wealthy, may not have access to the same health care, and the health statistics are almost identical.
That's fascinating.
And that's scary. And so, we've identified that one of the under-addressed problems are we've got to get more products to the market that work well on Black men. And, that's our mission. That's what we're carrying out with this fund.
I love it. Well, we definitely want to follow up on that in a few months down the road. As I close, I want my last question. And this is something that's been really, well, that's what God Dream has always been about as far as purpose. But our church lately has been pushing this culture of you made, for something great. And in particular, last week we started this new series about purpose. And I know I know the answer to this, but our viewers may not know. But do you guys feel you're walking in your purpose personally and in business?
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I think one of the big takeaways that I've had is your calling may vary at the different stage of your life where you find yourself, but your purpose, the glorifying of our Lord and Savior and living in happiness of doing His will here on earth is unchangeable for all of us. And so the way we, from a business standpoint, synthesize that is better returns and a better world. Too many people are just investing to preserve what they have, and they're missing out on the joy of partnering with the Lord and seeing the glory and seeing His economic formula of multiplication. And that's what really, really energizes us as a firm. And we hold each other accountable as business partners, as the leaders of Coplanar Capital, that personally we're always checking with our spouses, with the Lord, with the kids even, about the calling that we have. Make sure there's a balance there as we move towards the purpose that God's calling all of us to.
Yeah, and just to echo Doug, without a shadow of a doubt, I am walking fully in my purpose professionally and in my personal life. And so I think I told your viewers previously that I didn't even know this is what I wanted to do. I didn't even know that I would be good at it, but the Lord knew. And so He called me into it, and then He called me to a great partner who has given me so many, just really picked up the slack as I was learning, trying to catch up to this race of this venture capital space. And I'm fulfilled every day. There's nothing like helping an entrepreneur get their product to the place where it can go to the market, and you just see it in their eyes because their family member has been affected by this, and they know that in the future someone else's family member doesn't have to be affected by this. I can't explain it, like the joy that I get for those individuals, and I've countless stories around that. And so I would just say, there is nothing like when you follow God. You're going to have to give something up and sacrifice, but he's going to take you to your purpose. The other side of that sacrifice is your purpose, and you really, really will be fulfilled.
Well, gentlemen, that is so awesome, man. Thank you guys for sharing a little bit more about what you guys do and how God has been blessing and how doors have been opening and how you guys have just really been pouring into businesses, right? And on opportunities for God's glory. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of God Dreamers. I am thrilled. I'm excited. I am really overjoyed by what you guys are doing because, like I said, you don't really hear too much about companies like yours that are kingdom minded, right? So it's just a joy and pleasure just to sit down with you guys and share what you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. I mean, we love what you're doing too, because God works in dreams and visions. I mean, it's clear throughout the Bible. And when people start to visualize that calling, that place that they're being pulled towards, partnering with them, as Quentin said, is just a joy for everyone because we're meant to build in relationships. So without dreamers, there's no big ideas. And so let's keep it going.
Well, we're gonna keep it going for sure. Well, anyway, friends and family, thank you guys for tuning in on another edition of God Dreamers. I hope you were blessed and inspired. And if you guys want to know more about what they're doing, they can reach you through your website, right? That's the best way to reach you guys. Yes. So check out their website. It's Coplanar Capital, I think .com, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So check them out. Be prepared. Have your stuff in order before you call them. All right. Yeah, because preparation is the key here. But anyway, if you guys like what we're doing with the podcast, feel free to reach out to me. Like what we're doing. Also, if you know of anybody that's doing great things for the kingdom and want to share their story, I am always open to hear great stories for the kingdom. So reach out to us, and we'll see what we can do to get you on one of our episodes. So until next time, you guys take care. God bless you guys, and then we'll see you soon. Take care.
Keep dreaming.
Thanks, guys.